What's going on, everybody? I'm back with an all new video. I've been missing for a little bit. Been a couple weeks since I last recorded a video. I've hurt my back. I hadn't really been able to sit up. I'm sitting right now with some pillows behind me, so that's kind of helping me out a little bit. But otherwise, I've been kind of out of commission, and I felt really weird to not make a video because I'm so used to just like constantly pumping these out and always having something new going on. And I wanted to come back from my little being away with a haul video, and I really didn't pick up a whole lot of stuff. I'm gonna be honest. I think there's maybe like 40 volumes of manga and whatnot here, and I got 2 comics that I wanted to also talk about, 2 omnibuses. But I don't want to waste a whole lot of time, so let's just jump right into this. Right off the bat, we got the illustrated guide to Monster Girls. This like legit makes me think of like Monster U. I'm not sure who's the studio that does that, but well, that's legit. You know, like given the premise of this, where there's like these girls that are essentially like in Monster High or whatever, and they're gonna graduate and become like legit monsters that scare people or whatever. And I liked the artwork for it, so that's what made me ultimately, get around to picking it up. So I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to be reading it for my upcoming autumn video, I think. So yeah, look out for my thoughts on that later. We got Oshinoko Volume 3. I've read the first 2 volumes of this series and have really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to reading this one. I haven't opened it yet, but the story is getting a lot better. It's definitely going in a direction that I wasn't expecting it to go in, and I kind of have certain feelings about where this particular character's arc is going, and I feel like it might potentially get maybe a little more screwed up. I don't know if it's gonna. I thought it might. When I first read Volume 1, I thought it was gonna get like really dark or whatever, and given what happened in Volume 2, I don't think it's gonna get dark after all. It's probably just gonna become like a rom-com-ish comedy, but maybe more leaning on the comedy with maybe some weird stuff going on in between. But I mean, I've enjoyed it so far. First 2 volumes are good. I'm excited to get into Volume 3. We got Call the Name of the Night, Volume 2. I did a video about this series. I think I did a Why You Should... No, I'm sorry. I did a Let's Talk about the series. This is really well drawn. I'm not really super into like shoujo manga, but this one is solid. I love the artwork. I love this creator's artwork. I think it's Mitsuboshi. Yeah, Tama Mitsuboshi. Really solid artist. Really just wonderful art in this manga. It's about a girl who I think like calls the night, like the night surrounds her whenever she's stressed out or whatever. Like she literally brings out like actual darkness and it consumes everything around her. And it gets a little bit more personal, like people that suffer from, anxiety and stuff like that. And it kind of feels like it's all consuming. And I think that's part of, like the girl's thing. And this is the guy that essentially watches over her or whatever. I think his name's like Ray, and he is her caretaker. And it's a really cute story. No real romance stuff going on, but maybe later down the line there will be, maybe in this volume or something. But yeah, I've enjoyed it quite a bit. And it's, like I said, it's got beautiful artwork. Alright, this title is a mouthful, so I'm just going to read it off of the cover. My instant death ability is so overpowered, no one in this other world stands a chance against me. I'm in the middle of this. I'm reading this for a video, so I'm in the middle of it right now, and it's hilarious. It's not your standard isekai story. It definitely is one of the more random ones, though it does have, like the overpowered trope that you see in so many of these. There's some exceptions, like ReZero is an exception, and Konosuba is another exception. But I think it's funny, and it's definitely done some things that I really wasn't expecting it to do. And I kind of even looked at the back to see the age of it because of some of the situations and some of the things that are said in this. But I like that it's making a parody of, of like isekai manga, even though it does, in a sense, use the isekai manga tropes to its, storytelling advantage or whatever. But I definitely recommend this if you just want like something random and funny, just something random and fun that doesn't really take itself seriously. Medaka Kuroiwa is impervious to my charms. This is really cute. I read the whole thing. I actually ordered volume 2, so I should have that in my hands in the next like 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. Basically, this girl right here is full of herself, and she feels like every dude in this whole school should be in love with her. Only this dude right here, to her, and only this dude right here, like, I guess, isn't in love with her. Whenever she's around, he gives her like sneers and, you know, makes her feel bad. And she wants every dude in the whole school to love her because she is a narcissist. There's no other way to, like, you know, look at it other than that. But it does get a little bit better. But like her whole thing with, you know, being obsessed with this one dude, you know, wanting her or whatever is a little bit much. Like it's definitely too like it gets a little annoying is what I want to say. By the end of it does get a little bit annoying, but I'll still read volume 2 and we'll see how volume 2 is. If volume 2 is pretty much just like the exact carbon copy of this, then I might just, you know, not pick up any more of it. We got Insomniacs After School. This is a really good series that I did a video about, and I would highly recommend people to check this thing out. I love the artwork for this manga. I love the way that this character right here is drawn. Yeah, I think I did a video solely about this. I can't remember if it was a video talking about other manga and I talked about this, or if it was a video just about this. But I did do a video including it. And yeah, I mean, it's two characters that can't sleep. As a person myself that cannot sleep, I relate to people who can't sleep, and I love stuff like that. Like Call of the Night, you know, is the same thing with this dude who can't sleep, and then right here we got these two kids who can't sleep, and they get up to shenanigans at night because they can't sleep. And yeah, connected with it, you know, I mean, for me, it just brings back memories of being in high school and just being younger or whatever, and being out at night, and it's just such a different world, you know, when everybody else is asleep and you're out there on your own. I definitely feel like this channels that feeling pretty well. Up next, we got Succubus and Hitman. This feels like it's going to be a guilty pleasure. There's volume 2, 3, and then volume 4. I got volume 1 by itself, and for whatever reason, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to end up just collecting this whole thing, because I looked at some of the artwork, and it looks like it's just going to go, like, over the top. Basically, there's this dude who dies, or I think he dies, I can't remember what happened, but I think he dies and he comes back to life, and he's got like an angel of death sort of thing. He's got a succubus with him, and between him and the succubus, I think he makes a deal with the succubus. Between the two of them, they start taking out, I think, the people that killed him. Almost like Momo the Blood Taker, I think, kind of. I got rid of those. I don't have that series anymore. I read the first volume and was like, I don't want to read any more of this. We got Witches of Adamas, volume 5. This is super lewd, but I love it. This is definitely a guilty pleasure if ever there was one. That's super over the top. Like, this is like, I can't believe it's not hentai. You know what I mean? Like, that's how over the top the series is. And yeah, there's this dude who essentially ejaculates diamonds, and there are these girls called witches that, I guess, sense the diamonds or whatever, and whenever this dude ejaculates, or whenever they see a dude that ejaculates diamonds, it's a pretty rare condition, but whenever there's a dude that does it, a bunch of these girls come out of the woodwork and try to get those diamonds for themselves, or there's even an organization that you know, collects the diamonds or whatever, and it just gets crazier and crazier with each volume. Each volume that I've read, it just gets more and more insane. So I'm definitely gonna look forward to checking out volume 5 at some point. Next up, we got Yakuza Reincarnation. I like this series quite a bit. I bought volume 1, I think, in my last haul, and then in this second haul, I just got volume 2. I don't think this definitely does not miss. Basically, there was this old dude who was like a Yakuza boss. He gets jumped and reincarnated into another world as a young girl who is a princess. And when he takes over, he realizes that the princess whose body he inhabits now did a lot of stuff that was really dumb. And it's not that she was a bad person. She just wasn't, you know, street smart or whatever. And this dude's like super street smart, given that he was a Yakuza boss. And he sets out to essentially right her wrongs, and then, you know, etch out or whatever a new living for himself in this world as this young girl. And kind of reminds me of things like, you know, like Tanya the Evil, Saga of Tanya the Evil and whatnot, you know, stories about like dudes that are reincarnated in another world as girls, or like, this is screwed up, but I was reincarnated as a girl. That one as well. And this is really good. I mean, I have no complaints about this. I already ordered volumes 3 through 4? Oh, 3 through 5, I'm sorry. I've already ordered volumes 3 through 5 of this, and I had volume 1 previously, so yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed every second of this story. candy and cigarettes. There's a young girl who is an assassin, because why not? There's a bunch of stories, I don't know, like what it is with Japanese people and young girls as assassins. But I actually just watched a film recently called Baby Assassins. It's like basically about the same thing, young girl assassins. And like, there's so many stories like this, dude. There's one that I saw forever ago. That was like, there's an anime that I saw forever ago. That was like the same deal with like these young girls that are like maids or whatever. And then they go out on like missions and kill people. If I can find it, I'll post it somewhere on here. And then there was like the one that just came out too, Licorice Recoil. That's also kind of like the same deal. But I really like the art in this series, despite, it being basically that, like, just young girls going out and killing basically old dudes or whatever. So, I mean, I don't know, check it out if you want to. I like the art, like I said. Apparently, Disillusioned Adventures will save the world. This is a really good manga. I've read the first volume of it. There's parts of it that were a little clunky in the first volume. I haven't started volume 2 yet. As you can see, it's still sealed. I just haven't had a chance to get around to it yet. I've had a lot of stuff go on in like a really short amount of time in my life, between hurting my back and someone in my family passed away. So it's just been like the most chaotic like couple of weeks of my life. And yeah, it hasn't been fun for the most part. Like, it has not been fun at all. I've been trying to get some reading done, like it's going to be a little bit scattered, me dropping videos, but yeah, I definitely want to get around to this because like I want to see if it's going to get better, because like I said, it was a little clunky in parts in the first volume, but I don't think it was enough to write it off. And it's definitely no Konosuba, though it does have like that Konosuba feel. I guess we'll see, like maybe it'll get a little more interesting, a little more comedic, but there are definitely a little more serious elements to it, with these people like not really knowing, if they can trust each other or not. And that's basically what this is a party of like 4 people that were in other parties and they couldn't trust the people in those other parties, so now they're in a party together and they don't really fully know if they can trust each other. And I've enjoyed it so far, so yeah, I hope that it gets better. And it's based on a light novel series that I haven't read, but I think the light novel is like much further along than this manga version is. Gaming Apocalypse Kaiji Volume 2. I also ordered Volume 3, so I'll have the first 3 volumes of this series. I'm going to start it pretty soon, but I'm going to be doing a video about Kaiji and like other death game stories. So I'm kind of holding off on reading this. I'm also holding off on reading Alice in Borderland for literally the same reason, that I got a video coming out soon and I want to read them then. So that's basically what this is about. This is like Squid Game, but before Squid Game. People have claimed that that Squid Game rips Kaiji off, and I've even seen things that look like directly out of Kaiji. So I'm not saying that it did. So yeah, don't attack me. If you feel like any inclination whatsoever to start typing angrily at your keyboard or at your phone or whatever to say no, you're wrong. That's what I've heard. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't consumed any of this at all yet, but from what I've seen, it does look similar. But that happens, you know what I mean? Like, some things are just kind of similar. Like, you got The Illusionist and The Prestige that came out like almost at the same time. Who's to say one copied the other? The films, that came out forever ago. I'm definitely looking forward to checking the series out because it's a classic and I've heard a lot of really good things about it. Heart Gear. This is one I've been interested in that I haven't gotten around to yet. I'm going to be reading this for my autumn video as well. So basically, I think like this girl has a robot friend, uncle, whatever, that they were really close and something happens to that robot, and I think she teams up with this dude to figure out what happened. And that's all I really know because I haven't cracked it open yet. But I saw the artwork, like I said, and it just kind of reminded me of like some of the anime and whatever that I grew up with in the mid 2000s. That's what it feels to me. Like, it looks reminiscent to like my era of being into like anime and whatnot. And I've been watching this channel called Retro Crush, and it shows Tenjo Tang a lot. And like I came really close to going out of my way to buying Tenjo Tang the manga. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I really don't need to be starting any more series from scratch. Like, I legit have no more space to put things in this room, dude. Akane Banashi. I've seen this on the Viz app, on the Viz Shonen Jump app, a bunch of times, and like, I was gonna start it at one point, and then I saw that there was a physical coming out, so I just decided to wait for the physical. I haven't read this because I'm holding out for when I do my autumn video. So yeah, when I read it then, I'll give you my thoughts on it. But yeah, I mean, you could pretty much read this on the Shonen Jump Viz app if you don't feel like buying it, though. I mean, it's pretty cheap. I think it's only like $10 or something. Next up, we got Please Go Home, Miss Akutsu. This reminds me of Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, or whatever that manga is called. Only this is a little more mature. This girl is just like, will not leave this dude's apartment. She always wants to hang out there no matter what. There's nothing else in the world that she wants to do other than to be at this dude's place, like harassing him. But then he's also a total pushover. Like, he just doesn't, he acts like he's going to do something, like he's going to try to tell her to leave or do whatever, and he never does. Because why would you want to push an attractive girl out of your room? Up next, we got Dan to Dan, one of my favorite series that I've consumed recently. This is honestly shot up to like almost the top as one of my favorite manga currently running. Though Wild Strawberry is definitely catching up pretty quick because that story's gotten really wild. But, I mean, if you don't know what Dan to Dan is about, this is a story about these two youths that dare each other to do a thing, and in doing so, they end up like discovering that they both have these powers or whatever, and things just get super shenanigans after that. It is legit one of the most fun stories, one of the most fun, chaotic stories I've ever read, but at the same time, there's just like this emotional core that is resonant, really emotionally resonant, and it blew me out of the water several times, and legit felt my emotions running high at certain points, and legit wanted to just straight wanted to burst into tears. And yeah, this is, there's some just foldouts that are just absolutely gorgeous, and I think that you could not go wrong with checking the story out. I've done 2 videos about this series. I did a Let's Talk About, and I did a White Street. And yeah, this is definitely worth checking out if you've never read Dan to Dan. Up next, we got a whole bunch of Sakamoto Days. We got volume 4 right here, 5, 6, 7, and number 8. These were on sale for like $5 a pop this last summer sale or whatever that Right Stuff Anime had, and I just said, screw it, dude, I'm just gonna get all of it. It was worth it. This is a great series. I did a video about it forever ago at this point, over a year ago now, and I love the artwork here. This story is like if John Wick like got old, and like put on a bunch of weight, just like kind of let himself go and put on like a whole bunch of weight and decided to open a convenience store with his wife. And obviously, John Wick's wife passed away, but in this, this is assuming like this is like a different whole John Wick situation where like his wife doesn't die, like they have a kid together. And this isn't actually based on John Wick. I don't think it is anyway. I'm just saying, like, just giving you an idea of, the situation with this story. It's just basically this dude who, like, lets himself go. He gets married or whatever. He was, like, a top assassin. And now he works at a convenience store. And one of his former protege assassins or whatever comes to work for him. And then another girl that I guess is, like, an assassin in training also comes and works for him or whatever. It's really cute, but it also gets pretty brutal. The way they mix it up, like, it also reminds me of like A History of Violence, but the way they mix up the violence and the cuteness and the action, whatever, it works really well. The mangaka for the series, found like a great balance between the different elements. So yeah, this is a great series to check out. We got Yakuza Fiance. This feels like I don't know how to say it without triggering YouTube, but this is definitely not a healthy relationship. This does not in any way, shape, or form feel like a healthy relationship, and she to me seems kind of like more like a prisoner in this relationship than anything, because the dude legit is like a raging psychopath. It reminds me of that one movie with Mark Wahlberg, Fear, I think it was what it was called, that came out in like the 90s, where he's like pounding his chest, like outside of these people's house, just like alpha male pounding his chest like a nutcase. And I mean, I don't know, man. Lately, I've just been like picking up a bunch of like Yakuza stuff, and I ended up, picking up the first volume of this story, and now I have volume 2. So I don't know if there's any Yakuza stories that you think are good that I should check out. Let me know, because I'm definitely down to go down that rabbit hole. Next up, we got Summer Ghost. Basically, there's these 3 youths that find each other on the internet, and they are connected by death. This is based on the anime. I thought the anime was based on this, but according to the back of this, it's actually based on the critically acclaimed anime. So I don't know how the hell they got that much out of it. I thought the anime was only like a 30-minute OVA or something like that, but maybe I'm wrong because I've never seen anime. But it looks solid. The story looks solid, and I like the idea of it. You know, like there's just a bunch of youths that find each other, and they're trying to get to the bottom of a certain situation. And what really attracted me to it was this cover art here. It looks really beautifully drawn, and I can't wait to see, you know, what's going on in this story. And kind of reminds me of like maybe something by Inio Asano. If you've read it and you can confirm or deny or whatever, just let me know. Don't spoil it for me, please. Just say, yeah, you're right on the head, you know, by comparing it to something by Inio Asano, or no, it's nothing like Inio Asano's work. Yeah, I mean, it's a thick boy, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting into it and seeing, you know, where this goes. We got Romantic Killer. This is a story I never thought I'd check out. I ended up getting it because I'm doing an isekai video and I wanted to talk about different random things, and I didn't want to talk about stuff that everybody else is already talking about. And I don't know if anybody's talking about this story or not, and as far as I know, I haven't seen anybody talk about it. It's fully in color, which is kind of random, you know? Like, you never really see this too much in manga stories that are fully in color. And they even changed the sound effects completely to English, so it just feels like an American comic for the most part. You know, because everything is in English. There are no, like, you know, because a lot of stuff will have, like, the Japanese sound effects and maybe, like, a little translation of what the Japanese sound effect is. But this is 100% completely in English. She is weird, I guess. Like, well, she's not weird. She's into, like, video games and, you know, stuff like that. And she is, like, the opposite of being the kind of a person that you would see in a romantic relationship. So this weird being that I thought might have been on the cover, this weird being tries to rope her into relationships with dudes and whatnot against her will, and she keeps like running into this dude, which I thought was kind of hilarious. You know, the whole thing is she's like, just no matter what the situation is, like she'll randomly run into this dude and she keeps trying to get away from him, only to like run right back into him. But it's really cute, it's really funny, and I'm liking it a lot more than I thought I might have liked it, because I don't have anything against shoujo stories. I know I like hated on shoujo a little bit in my Shoujo Null video, but I really don't have anything against shoujo. I'll read it, you know what I mean? I just like storytelling, man. I'm into rom-com and whatnot. I bought a bunch of rom-com stuff in this haul, and all my hauls always pick up, you know, rom-com manga as well as seinen and shonen and whatnot. You know, I like a lot of different stuff. I refuse to be pigeonholed. Rise of the Outlaw, Tamer, and his S-Rank Cat Girl, Volume 2. If this is anything like this first volume, this is just going to be over the top. Just sex and violence, which, I mean, I'm cool with that. I got nothing against that. Though I'm pretty sure it's going to be like, whatever always happens in the first volume, it's always amplified as the story goes on. It just gets even more gratuitous, so I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if like the sexual tensions and whatnot and just like the sexual activities get even more gratuitous in this series. And I'm a fan of trash. I will read a bunch of trash. I did a video about lewd manga, so yeah, I mean, I don't really care. The protagonist is boring. There's really nothing special about the guy. I mean, his name is literally Lint. The guy's name is Lint, so there is nothing special about him. He's got an S-Rank cat girl because reasons, you know, because whoever created this manga is horny and they wanted to just draw like half-naked big boob girls. That's essentially like the only reason this exists. Well, like I said, dude, I'm a fan of just trash, bro. I'm a degenerate, and yeah, there's really nothing beyond that. That's really what this is. It's like he collects a harem of beasts and the one girl, and now he's gonna, I guess, end up with more girls because this is sort of turning into a harem. Yeah, he's got like beasts or whatever that are caught for him by his S-Rank cat girl. So I really don't for the life of me see what's so special about him, and other than, you know, fulfillment, you know, fan service fulfillment, whatever, fantasy fulfillment. And I'm just basically taking a dump all over the sake, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? Like, if you like this sort of a story, then I think you're gonna enjoy this. If you just like raunchy, pointless, gratuitous sexual stuff going on, then yeah, this will be for you. We got Level 1 Demon and the One Room Hero. This became one of my favorite stories that I'm reading. I've read the first 2 volumes of it. I'm reading the 3rd volume right now, and yeah, this is just one of the most fun things that I've read in a while, and I don't even know what pushed me to get this. To be honest with you, I think I saw stills from the anime or whatever, because I guess there's an anime for it, and there's an anime for like almost everything that I have in my haul. But I just really don't watch a ton of anime. I started watching Jujutsu Kaisen again because I'd seen the first season, and then I started watching the O movie or Zero or whatever, and I never finished it. And then I watched it over from scratch, and then I watched the first part of season 2 in preparation for what's coming up next, which is like a huge thing that everybody's really obsessed with. And I don't know anything about Jujutsu Kaisen beyond the anime. Like, I've never read the manga, so I don't know anything about this incident that's coming up that everybody's super excited about. That's about the only thing I'm really watching. And I guess this has an anime, and I've seen screens from the anime, and I was like, this looks interesting, and found out there was a manga for it. So I decided to read the manga instead, because if I start watching the anime, I'm never going to finish it, because I suck at watching anime. I'll start a series and then just never finish watching it. And I read the first 2 volumes of this like back to back, and I'm really looking forward to seeing, where it's going to go and what's going to happen with these characters. This dude was, I guess, like the hero, and this was like the demon lord. Only the demon lord gets reincarnated as like a young demon boy, girl. I'm not sure what's going on there. Technically a dude, but dresses like a girl, and ends up, coming back to try to take this dude on again. Only it's been like 10 years, and this dude has become like Bruce Wayne in Dark Knight Rises, where he's like all burned out, and his legs are burned out, his legs, his ligaments in his leg or whatever are screwed. And that's basically this dude, where he was a hero and now he's just a bum. And, the Demon Lord comes back to try to fight him, and realizes he's a bum. And it's shenanigans, dude. This story is nothing but shenanigans. And yeah, if you like just fun, nonsensical stories, this is definitely one to check out. We got Buddy Stories here, which is based on Tatsuki Fujimoto's work. This is a light novel, sort of, not really a light novel, but a collection of stories in a light novel format. It's all just text. I will read this at some point, because I do read novels. It's just been a while since I actually read a novel, or read, anything in like just word format. But I mean, given that it's based on his work and he had input into how this was created, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to checking out and reading it. There's random art, just in there, just to kind of set up certain scenes, I guess, from these buddy stories that take place in this. And yeah, I mean, I'll check it out. I have nothing against reading novels. I'm not like a huge light novel reader. I haven't really picked up any light novels, so this will be my first one. Love's in Sight. I haven't started this yet, but I'm really looking forward to checking it out, because like I said, I love like cutesy rom-com stuff. Despite, I'm also into like seinen and stuff like that, and I like reading stuff, man. Like, I don't care what it is, I'll check it out. And I think she's like legally blind, but not fully blind. She can still kind of see a little bit, I think, but just not super well. And I'm not sure what happens in this particular manga, because I've never read it, though I do plan on reading it pretty soon. I think I was going to read this for my video that I'm doing, my August video, but I'm not sure. I have to check my notes. And it just looks cute, dude. I don't know what else to say about it. I don't think there's really much else to say about it. It's one of those just, delinquent guy and kind of like prep school girl, almost like Hito, what was that one? Hito Miya or whatever. Whatever that one series is called, that I'll put it right here, dude, because I can't think of the damn name of it. With the dude who's got all the piercings in his face. But I think that's what it was called, like Hiromiya or something. That's kind of what it makes me think of, honestly. And yeah, man, I don't think there's anything wrong with checking out some rom-com manga. Up next, we got Gantz Volume 12. This closes out these big omnibus volumes of Gantz. It'll suck, dude, if these end up getting released in tall, omnibus volumes like those Berserk ones back there. Because like it took forever to collect all of these. I started buying them at a certain point. I think volumes 1 through 3 had been out at the time when I started collecting them, or maybe I started collecting them as they came out. I can't remember what happened there, but yeah, I've been collecting these for like 2 years at this point, and It feels really good to own all of them. I've already read this series. Like, I read the whole thing forever ago. I read it online. All 300 and something volumes just back to back. And it's legit. I think it's Hiroya Oku's masterwork. There are parts of it that are a little convoluted, but it is one of the best stories I've personally ever read. If you haven't consumed it, you don't know anything about this. You basically die, and then you wake up in a room surrounded with a bunch of other people, and there's a ball in the middle of the room, like a black sphere in the middle of the room. And you get sent on missions to kill aliens, and if you die while you're on a mission, you die like permanently. But if you collect enough points or whatever, you can essentially be brought back to your regular life before you died. Because you have to die in the first place to go to this room, and then if you die after you leave the room to go on a mission, you die permanently. But you can essentially buy your life back, or you can even bring somebody back from the dead. And there's a lot of really cool stuff that goes on in this, and these were huge omnibus volumes, dude. There was a lot of story. This dude did 373, I think, 373 chapters of this story, and there's a certain point that it hits where it just goes like, holy hell, dude, I can't believe that actually just happened. I 100% recommend this if you're into like seinen, stuff. There's a bunch of nudity and stuff like that, but I don't think it's that bad. I've definitely read worse. We got ICHI by Junji Ito. I really badly want to do a video about Junji Ito's work. That's coming up. I don't know when. Probably next year, because like I have to read so much stuff. I really wanted to do a video for Halloween. Like, I wanted to do the mangaka spotlight video, like I did for Tatsuki Fujimoto, but for Junji Ito. And there's so much of his stuff that it's probably going to be like 2 videos. It's either going to be 2 videos, or I'm going to make one huge video that's like essentially 2 parts that I'm going to record on 2 different days. And even that's going to be a massive amount of work. So if anything, I'll probably just do it as 2 videos. This is more collections of like older Junji Ito stories, and I have no problems with that. There's another one that's got coming out too at some point. This man is one of the hardest working mangaka I've ever seen. Just one of the most diligent dudes out. Just pumping out story after story, and he's got so much work, and it's wild to me how much manga this man's created. And this is definitely a classic that I'm glad got printed in English, and I'm excited to see what happens in ICHI. We got Sekisei Inko. This is in Spanish by the Spanish publisher Norma Editorial. I love the artwork in this series. I hope that this eventually gets an English translation, because it is just, like I said, it's really gorgeous artwork, and I love Ken Wakui. I think he's one of the best mangaka that I've consumed, stories from. I love his other one, Tokyo Revengers, and this one, the art in this one too is really solid. This is a little more supernatural than that one, and yeah, I hope that this can eventually get translated into English. I don't know what the holdup could be. There's any number of things that are keeping it from being translated into English. Maybe the Japanese publisher doesn't think that it'll do well in English, or whatever, any number of reasons. As to the reason, I did a video too about my other language manga that you can check out on the channel, and I talked about the first volume of this as well. So yeah, I mean, if you speak Spanish, if you can read Spanish, I mean, definitely, why not check out Sekisei Inko. Up next, we got Jargon by Norma Editorial. If you've watched any of my older videos, you will see that I've had volume 12 and volume 14 in Mexican Spanish, like by a Mexican publisher, and I didn't like the way the spines looked. Because the Mexican version of it has like the Jargon, like all the way down the back, and it looks really weird, and I didn't like it. So I ended up getting rid of that volume. I gave it away to somebody, and I ended up getting volume 12 in the Norma Editorial one, because I initially bought it, and for whatever reason it got lost in the mail, I bought it and then it got returned to the company that I bought it from, because they're based out of like the Netherlands, and for whatever reason my address got weird when it got shipped to me. It was an incomplete address or whatever, and it ended up getting sent all the way back to the Netherlands, and I was able to finally get it. I got it from actually the same people, which is hilarious. I ended up getting it from them finally, and all I need now is volume 14 in Spanish, and I will have my complete Jargon set. I love this series, dude. Sadly, it's not in English yet. Hopefully one day it does get the English translation treatment. I'd love to see that because I'd love to own this series in English. Given that I can read Spanish, that I do read Spanish, I've spoken Spanish literally my whole life. I've been consuming this. I think I'm on volume 4 right now of the series, and it just gets better and better, dude. The artwork is so unreal that it kills me that it's not in English, but hopefully one day it gets the English translation. Alright, so we're going to change it up a little bit for the last 2 volumes that we're going to talk about here. And these are omnibus volumes, and these are not manga, but instead these are comics. This is Preacher by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon, and this is part 1 of 2 huge omnibus volumes. This is like 1,000 something pages, I think like 1,600 pages, give or take, or 1,400 pages. But Steve Dillon's artwork is just incredible. And I know this is for the most part a manga channel, so I may never do videos about this series, but I still wanted to show it off because I bought it pretty recently. These are kind of things that I'm just kind of going to read for my own pleasure, and I have a feeling like if I do a video about this, I'm probably going to lose a bunch of subs, because when I did my when I did my manga video, like I legit lost like 5 subs and got like a dislike within the hour of the video going live, which I thought was kind of insane. I didn't think that was warranted. But hey, whatever, man. I hope those people are happy wherever they are. Yeah, this thing is huge, dude. I've loved it so far. You know, I watched the show that came out on, I forgot where, AMC or whatever that show came out on. I thought it was really good, and apparently that was a disservice, and as I read this, it definitely doesn't follow it too well. And because, you know, I was enjoying this so much, I also decided to check out another Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon story, so let's get into that one. Or I don't know, man, do you want me to talk about this a little bit? I'll talk a little bit about Preacher. So basically, this dude right here is a preacher in like a small town, or was a preacher in a small town, and something happens that the town ends up getting blown up, or the people in the town end up getting cramped into like this church, and they all get blown up, and now he's on the run, and with him is his ex-girlfriend Tulip. His name is Jesse. With him is his ex-girlfriend Tulip and a vampire named Cassidy, and they basically go on like a road trip across the U.S. to find God. I'm not even kidding either. And it's just absolute chaos, dude. This story is so much fun, dude. It's so chaotic, and it came out in the 90s. And Garth Ennis has been compared to Quentin Tarantino by so many people, and I'm definitely seeing the Tarantino reference. And I don't know, dude. I just saw this artwork, and it blew me away, dude. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna check this thing out, man, because one of my best friends, Justin, who is my writer homie. Between the two of us, we've written a bunch of stuff and edited each other's works and whatnot. And he's enjoyed the hell out of this, and he gave me his copy of it, which was like a 200-page one. I ended up picking up this whole omnibus, and yeah, I've loved it, dude. I've loved it so far. So yeah, that's Preacher. All right, we are gonna close out this video on Hickblazer. This thing is gorgeous, as you can see. I love that artwork. I love that cover. So this is also a Garth Ennis one. This was actually done by a lot of artists besides Steve Dillon. I think he stepped in much later, because there's a friend of mine named Nick who I don't know if he wants to be shouted out or not, so I'm not going to say his whole thing. But if he's okay with being shouted out, I'll shout him out in the next one. But yeah, my boy Nick, and then also Nerdcore has done videos about this series. And he does a character named Hickblazer, which is his version of Hellblazer. And I'll tag that video in the either in the comments or in the description of this if you want to check out Nerdcore's Hickblazer. Basically, this is if you know anything about like DC and whatnot, this is John Constantine, and I can't remember what this particular story is about, but I think it's like he's on his last legs or whatever. He's like gonna die, or he's about to die, and there's like a bunch of stuff going on in his life, and he's trying to get to the bottom of something, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I haven't even opened it yet, dude, so I'm just talking out of my ass right now. But I saw the artwork and I was like, dude, I need to get on this. And I actually even pre-ordered Hush, the Batman story. And I mean, if I do any videos about this, it'll probably be on my second channel, and I'll link my second channel. I always link my second channel in these videos. If you want to check it out there, I'll do a video about it there. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. 2 big ol' omnibus volumes at the end. I like to save these things for the end of the video for people that like to stick around and watch the whole thing. For anybody that sticks around and watches all of these, you are the true MVP, and you have no idea how valuable you are to me, that you watch all of these videos. And this wasn't a huge haul. This is a tiny haul compared to like some of my bigger ones. Like I usually do like 90 volume hauls or 60 volume hauls, 70 volume hauls. This is like 40 volumes of manga and this is 38 volumes of manga and 2 comics. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I wanted to show those last 2 off because I picked them up pretty recently, and I just wanted to talk about them. And I know there's people that watch this that like things besides manga, though this is predominantly a manga channel, and it's for the most part always going to be a manga channel. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that whatever you got planned for the rest of the day goes down without any issue, and I hope everyone you love is doing well, and take care of them, because as I experienced recently, bad things can happen in literally like the drop of a hat, at the drop of a dime. Anything, your world can just be turned upside down. So yeah, please take care of the people you love and take care of yourselves, and until next time we meet.
By the hands of God, I stand as a wrench between your wheeling cog, fastening my belt, bracing myself to withstand against all odds. Himself shadow runners, battle ready, murder dogs, rip the skin off your horses, triumph and smash the sorceress, lethal forces. The failure of your ambitions is more painful than divorces. Smash its own piece on the doorway, when the door hits, that's it, call it quits. Zipped up in plastic, cremated, melted like elastic. Dreams don't mean shit, in this life they don't exist.